Hi, good evening. It's Gina Tabrizi. How are you? I'm a little late, you guys, and I apologize, about 4 minutes late. Running in tonight, a little rushed from my day, and did my best to set up. Of course, the internet doesn't always cooperate with me, or the wireless, or whatever, however it all works. So I'm here now, and I just want to say hi. Shout out to you all. If you got through your week thus far, Wednesday is always hump day. It's a day that we kind of take a breath and look how it's going and realize we're a little closer to the weekend. And in this case, we're very close to the holidays, which we've talked about on and off can be very stressful for all of us. And for some of us, it's just great and blissful, and you have all the time off in the world and you get everything done that you need to get done. But for a lot of us, it's nutty. It's just rushing and running and present buying and packaging and showing up to one party after another. And so let's take a breather. Hi, Lynn, and hi, Jessica. How are you? Hey, Gina, I just got manager position at Marriott. Hey, good job, Jessica. Shout out to you. That's awesome. So tonight I have a good subject, I think. Its title is, I have to think about it for a minute because I sent it earlier in the week. Okay, it's Heal Thyself or Hurt Others. So I didn't know quite how I phrased it on the page. If you saw that, I know sometimes you just jump on here, you don't know what the topic is. I did want to share with you that I have an opportunity to go live on a friend's page that is really, really big. He's got millions of followers. He wants me to go live. He had suggested I do that. I could have done that tonight, but that meant I would have to let you guys know or just not show up. And I didn't want to do that. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to come back on Friday. So it'll be Friday at 6, and the page is called Wings of Encouragement. And so you can go on there, but honestly, I'm going to post it on my page. So you'll have another opportunity if you miss any part of this. So how you all doing? Check in with me. I know I apologize for being late. I try to be really, really good about that and trying to get my self situated. So thank you for being patient on that. And in terms of tonight and the topic, I see Lynn and Jessica here. If anyone else is there, shout out or thumbs up. Let me know you're hanging in there with me tonight. I do want to support you. I am a therapist, and I'm not acting as one here. I'm just a therapist in real life, and I do that with clients, and I've been doing it for a really long time, about 32 years. So I like to share things that might inspire you, might help you, might support you in your journey. Hi, Elisa. And I hope that you all will continue to log on here, watch the videos, share, like the page. Like I said, this Friday, I will be on a bigger Facebook page of a friend of mine, Kelly Kettle. Shout out to Kelly, called Wings of Encouragement. I will post it after that live. I think you guys can go like his page and get on there or whatnot, or you can just wait, and after I'll share it onto my page, okay? So I was thinking about the subject of, hi, Mary, how are you? I miss you. I think about you all the time. You might not think that. Sometimes I send you messages. Sometimes I just say it in my head, and I hope that you'll catch it. Today was one of those days where I was thinking about you. So just saying hi now. My hair keeps getting in my eye. I can't see. Thank you for sending the love, and it's good to see you here. I was thinking about heal thyself or you will harm others. This came up in a conversation with someone. I think one of my viewers sent something on it too about what happens when people don't work on themselves and heal themselves. You know, there's lots of ways that we are wounded and injured that we, love you too, Mary, that we are not aware of, okay? Thanks a lot for being late, Gina. Got up late. It's so it worked for Sublimal, who's in India, for me to be a couple minutes late because then he had time to wake up and join us. So that's awesome. On the subject of heal thyself. So there is a phrase that that physicians are very familiar with, and it's physician heal thyself. It's like kind of take your own advice. So don't trust a doctor who's not healthy and well. They're not taking their own advice. This is similar, is when you're out in the world and you have all these areas in yourself that you haven't dealt with, that you haven't looked into, and that you haven't resolved, then you can be a danger to others. I'm not saying that you're going to be psychotic and hurt people and go off and do things, acts of violence and different things like that. And, you know, people who are psychotic behave in those ways, right? But I'm talking about injuries where you have a self-esteem issue. You have a codependency issue. You have unresolved issues from your childhood. You have unresolved issues from your past relationships. And because you do, you're still acting them out. So I've always said that trauma that comes from your childhood or even your present, young, adolescent, adulthood, even if it's more present, when we don't work through the grief, the loss, the anger, the hurt that those traumas caused us, then we act them out in relationship with people. So we walk around emotionally immature, and we are suspect to, being privy to, being people that might harm other people. And you might not be aware of that in yourself because no one's called you out on it. So one of the ways that you know that you're someone that's acting out from a past wound is if you are quick to react. When people say things to you that might be more critical or more judgmental, if you perceive them as being angry, then you act out or react very quickly. That's a cue that there's some emotional immaturity there. And what that means is that you haven't worked on a part of yourself that needs to be healed. Maybe you grew up in a home where anger was the only form of communication. Maybe you grew up in a home where someone was emotionally abusive to you, or physically or sexually abusive. Maybe there were alcoholics in your home. Maybe there were absent parents in your home. Maybe your parents had really poor boundaries and didn't know how to support you, discipline you, guide you, and they left you to your own vices. Well, all of these things can cause an immaturity in us. So when these issues aren't resolved, then sometimes we feel we become more needy as adults, and we have expectation that other people are going to meet those needs that didn't get met in childhood. And sometimes we will hold people hostage in relationships saying, you're going to give me what I didn't get. They don't know, and you don't know that you're doing this. This is happening on an unconscious level, on a deeper level that you're maybe not even aware of. And so it could go on and on for years. One of the ways also that unresolved trauma might show up is in resentment. And I talk about resentment a lot because I think it's a cornerstone to a lot of the issues that we have that cause conflict in relationships. So when you're holding resentment from your past traumas, when you haven't resolved being wounded or abandoned or left, being ignored, feeling not enough as a young child, as a young person, as a spouse, and you haven't resolved those issues, then what happens is you act them out in your relationship and you expect your partner to get it right. You expect your partner to fix what was broken in you. And sometimes those expectations are too high or they're unrealistic. Our partners can't meet the needs that we didn't get met at our younger years. Our partners can't make up for what was done to us, right? So when you commit yourself to relationship, but you're carrying these wounds in you, then you risk being a person that can harm someone else. For example, with your anger and your resentment, you can act out and you can be agitated and you can be the one who's always fighting and arguing with your partner and causing chaos in your relationship. I don't know if you guys relate to that, but I know at times where things are not resolved in me, I tend to act out more irritably or with anger or not as kind and certainly not as patient. So kind of scroll back into your relationship. Let me read. Hi, George. Sublimal saying hi to you. And mi última relación fuimos. So George is saying in his past relationship, he was very codependent. And Pauline's saying, yeah. So in your codependency, that's an emotional immaturity well. And it comes from a feeling of not being enough. I can't do enough. I can't get it right. No matter what I do, I'm not loved. No matter what I say, someone's upset with me. I don't like people being upset with me. I don't feel like I'm valued. I don't feel like people see my worth. Those are signs of codependency. And that comes from emotional immaturity, which comes from traumatic experiences. Trauma, as I often have talked about it, is where you feel your basic needs weren't met. It's not just an act of violence or something degrading or humiliating or something that was life-threatening or catastrophic. That is the true definition of trauma in post-traumatic stress disorder. But the trauma that I'm talking about is just when basic needs of love, regard, attention, kindness, humanity aren't met. You don't feel valued, you don't feel loved, you don't feel worthy, then that causes a pattern throughout your life where you seek relationships where you feel invalidated. You keep repeating this vicious cycle of feeling not enough in this relationship and the next relationship and this friendship and that work relationship and this other personal relationship or intimate relationship. Hi, Terry. So we're talking there about codependency, and codependency is an area where you need to heal yourself. Codependency can show up really dramatically in our partner relationships with our intimate partners, our spouses, our marriages. That codependency of, I expect you to give me what I didn't get. I felt worthless as a child. I was abandoned as a child. I thought I wasn't enough. My parents never praised me. I was compared to my older siblings all the time. They always got the acknowledgement and the validation. I was the black sheep. Then you go into a relationship with partner hoping that they will make up for that they will see you truly as you are. They will shower you with love. They will shower you with attention. And yes, they may be capable of doing that, but sometimes they fall short because your need is so great. They can't always get it right. And so they start to feel like they're not enough, that they're not meeting your needs. And you guys get into this codependent, vicious cycle where both of you are being harmed. So this story, this topic is about you have to heal yourself. You have to work on yourself. You're a wounded child or a wounded person walking out into the world, having interactions with other people, and you haven't even healed. Because you've never looked at it. If you've never taken a personal inventory of the ways that you have wronged people, of the errors that you have made, of the places you feel ashamed, of the things you feel guilty about, taking a personal inventory of these things and examining them so that you can grieve and let them go allows you to grow and into more emotionally mature person that can interact with people on an adult level. Otherwise, you might be a prisoner to always reacting from a more childlike, adolescent-like, immature place. Let me know if you've noticed that in your partners or in your friends. Elise is making a comment. I was a few years sober when I realized I'm a codependent. And Elisa says that's me totally. So codependency, as I've talked to you before, is about a person who doesn't feel worthy or loved or good enough. And that person is coming from a place of emotional immaturity. And one of the analogies that I came up with not that long ago was you're putting the shingle on somebody else's roof thinking it's going to cover you. You're building their house up. You're taking care of them and putting all your energy and focus there, hoping that you'll be covered, hoping you'll be protected. And you can't be. But this is coming from a place in you that's broken, that's wounded, a child who's still longing to be loved, validated, and heard. So now you're holding your current relationships to that and saying, you will validate me, you will see me, you will hear me so that I can heal. That's an unfair thing to do. Yeah, you get to ask your partners to listen to you, to show up for you, but are you being realistic with to what extent should they show up to you? Should they show up for you? Should they show up and sacrifice themselves for you? Because then now they're in the codependent cycle. I don't know what you think about that. Sublimal. Problem is that the codependents fail to understand that they actually become enablers. Yes. Oh, that's a long response. In their attempt at trying to help, their motive of intention may be honest, but their pattern of action is a way from what needs to be done. Gina, this is my personal experience. The expectation level of codependence becomes too high, of course, leading to desperation and eventually into a traumatic situation. That's very well said, Subamal. I send you some love there. That's amazing. And yes, so codependence, in their wounding, their expectations get way too high. They're very unrealistic. They become very needy. They become very clingy in relationship, and they become extremely desperate. Hi, Kelly. Anything we do out of desperation is not healthy, and that is coming from a place of being wounded. So hear this. When you fear abandonment and you fear someone leaving you and the relationship is changing and it's not going as you thought, and you see the writing on the wall and you see that your partner is probably going to be exiting very soon, in that fear, you create this tension in the relationship. And because you're afraid that someone's going to leave you, or you're afraid of being abandonment, you cling on tighter. Now, this isn't true for everybody. This is true for codependence. But on the other side of the codependent, have you been in a relationship with someone who just tries to, well, that was my mother calling me on my live. Hi, Lourdes. If you're going to go see mom now, tell her not to call me, okay? Are you going to dinner at mom's? We're all going to dinner at mom's. Well, not all of us on the live, but my cousin and my cousin's nieces and nephews that are visiting in my family. And mom's obviously calling me to see where the heck I'm at. She's very impatient. So we're here now. Well, tell her I've gone live, Lou. So my cousin is there. She can inform my mother. I should have known to call her before, because I knew at about not even 30 minutes in, she'd be calling. So anyways, so I want you to understand, have you ever been in a relationship like that where the person becomes so clingy and so, I know, Lou, I know, so desperate and hangs on to you that you feel smothered and you feel controlled and you feel as though you have no breathing room, and that you can't get away from their expectations and their neediness, and it starts to become very unattractive, and then you build a resentment around it. Well, codependency, being an enabler, being a codependent, hanging on for dear life out of desperation is a sign of emotional immaturity. It's something in you haven't worked out. You're repeating a pattern that you learned at a younger time in your life. You're repeating a pattern that you learned of insecurity. You're repeating a pattern that you learned of unworthiness. The key for us is to learn that whatever happened in my childhood or my young adulthood and my past marriage doesn't have to happen now and doesn't have to happen in this relationship. I have the ability to do it different if I'm willing to look at my part. You cannot heal thyself and not harm others if you're not willing to look at your part. If you always have the need to be right, always have the need to be in control, always believe that you are infallible, then you're setting yourself up to be a person that's harming other people. It's hard to be in a relationship with a perfectionist or a controller or a control freak or someone who simply can never say, I'm sorry. These are magical words. These are the elixir to the soul. I know it doesn't fix everything. You know, if you're in a relationship with addict and an alcoholic and they've said over and over again, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, and they keep doing the behavior, I understand that doesn't change or heal it. But trust me, from an emotional place, at least the acknowledgement that I am in the wrong and this behavior isn't healthy, and I'm so sorry you're suffering because of my insecure, immature behavior, that is an elixir that really helps someone to heal. Even if the relationship ends, even if they never trust you again, they can at least say, I thank you for acknowledging you're wrong. That means a lot to me, but this relationship is no longer safe and I need to move forward. You guys, it's okay to leave what isn't serve you. It's okay to leave relationships where you don't feel safe, where you don't feel you're being taken care of, where you feel you're being taken advantage of. That is okay. So I'm going to hear your comments back. I am the codependent, but I run from the relationship when I don't get what I need. Okay. And Subamal, Elisa, your realization and acceptance actually started your recovery process. Yes, and she's definitely working in that recovery. Now I run, used to hang on too long. All right, so I hope you're following me with this. You have a part in every situation like that, and you have the right to leave where you don't feel safe. But if you're the person doing the harm, your job is to discover, what am I doing? What is broken inside of me that I keep acting out like this? I keep pushing people away that I love, that care for me, that keep showing up for me. See, when you don't feel enough and you've been broken in that way, either through abandonment or neglect or just being ignored or just being told you weren't enough, just not getting enough validation and love and nurturing growing up into your adulthood, if you've been told that and you've been treated like that over and over again, then you have this internal sense of lack of worth. So you start to question when someone shows you love. You don't believe it. You don't accept it. You don't think it's real. You question it. You question their motives. You question the way that they look at you, the way that they talk to you. You question them showing up for you in any real way that sounds or feels supportive to you. Hi, Marla. This comes from that lack of worth. If we felt unworthy, then when someone shows up to tell us, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, I love you, everything in us is going to want to push back. So I want to say to you, if you have any part of you that has that insecurity still, or the resentment of not getting what you needed in your childhood, and you're making everybody pay for that now for the rest of your life, or your kids are paying because of the way your parents treated you, and now you're treating them the same or worse. Thank you, Linda, for saying it's true. And hi, Marla. This is your story, and you get to work on this, and you get to say, that's enough. I don't want to repeat this pattern of insecurity and unworthiness. I need to know and own if someone is showing up in relationship with me to be kind, to be loving, then there must be something worthy in me, and I need to begin to see that. But I can't do that without letting go of the past history and the past story that taught me that I wasn't enough. I have to drop that story now. I have to turn the page. I have to get it into acceptance of, who am I right now? What is my worth? What is my strength? How can I feel loved and worthy and accept other people's love and validation if I keep hanging on to this past message of I wasn't enough? Okay. Sublimal is chatting away with me here. Repentance can be pardoned, but repetition is bad news. Absolutely. Talks of all the reasons of loss of control and dishonesty. Correct. So your actions are everything, right? So now I want you to think, if the topic is, if you don't heal thyself, you harm others. You are now holding other people's hostage in your life to your emotional immaturity. So it's okay to explore. It's okay to look into our history. It's okay to look into our behaviors and go, why do I always react this way at work to this particular coworker? Or why when my husband asks me a question, do I feel like I'm being grilled, and put, the spotlight, put under a spotlight and inquisition? Why do I feel that way? Why am I having these reactions? These are things to start looking at and to understand and explore about yourself, because those are cues that you have an emotional wound and this emotional immaturity that you're acting out. When you don't get your way in relationship, do you throw a fit? Do you throw a tantrum like you did when you were little? If you did that and it worked as a child, you might still be trying to do that as an adult, but you're causing serious damage to that relationship. Here's one thing I always say to my patients. Nobody wants to get in bed with their parent, and nobody wants to get in bed with their child. What I mean by that is, if you're that emotionally immature and you're acting as a child, no one wants to be intimate and close with someone who's acting childish. If you're acting parental and controlling and putting someone down or demeaning or critical of them, they also don't want to be close and intimate with that. The analogy is kind of intense. It kind of hits you in the face because it's like, ooh, that's ugly. But maybe it'll remind you, if I'm acting like a child, then how can I expect my partner to come close to me? If I'm acting in ways that are childish, I need to heal that, because that's the child in me that's screaming out for love, attention, and acknowledgement. And the person that needs to give that is me. I need to give that back to myself, to acknowledge myself in that way. It is very hard, Elisa, yes. And it is also very true. And you can do that by daily filling yourself up with things that are good, filling yourself up with affirmations, listening to positive, inspirational talks. It doesn't just have to be mine, but it could be. Joel Osteen, I listen to sometimes. Some people don't like him. They think he's too much. He's too hokey. I like him because he's all positive. Listen to Eckhart Tolle. Listen to, who else can I think? Louise Hay. There's a lot of spiritual, inspirational teachers out there who give you messages of hope, give you messages of inspiration. And your job is to fill yourself up with that every day to combat any negative beliefs and feelings and history that you're carrying around with you, okay? I want to read these next two messages, and then we're getting close to the end. It went so fast. Kelly, I'm afraid to get in another relationship. I've been hurt so many times. And everybody give a thumbs up, give a heart, give a shout out to Kelly. How many of you are terrified of being in a relationship? And how many of you have refused to go back and have not had a relationship for decades because of this same fear? Let me know. Linda, I needed to be reminded of this today. I can't change and learn how to see my self-worth if I keep believing and living in the past. Amen, Linda, you got it. Thank you. I'm glad you got it and that came through and you understood that. People are sending you love, Kelly. If you never risk, you stay in fear. If you stay in fear, you never heal and you never grow. Kelly, it's terrifying. However, you have to remember and take that inventory and learn, what are the red flags in any relationship? What do I get myself into that isn't healthy for me? I need to risk relationship again. I'm going to have to at some point trust. Otherwise, I'm going to close myself off to a huge part of the potential of my life and the possibility of my life to heal in this area. And you deserve to heal in this area. My poor YouTubers, I'm like this, and they're way up. Their visual is terrible with that. Anyways, way up my nose. But please, Kelly, know this, that it doesn't change because we don't attempt to walk through that fear, because we resist it or we avoid it. Nothing will ever change. We need to learn from it. So with every relationship, we need to take inventory of what was hurtful, what didn't work, what didn't I like. I didn't like being yelled at. I didn't like being chastised, criticized. I didn't like the perfectionism in my ex-partner. I didn't like the jealousy. I didn't like the control. I didn't like the being put down. I didn't like being ignored. I didn't like that I was never first choice. I was always second or third to a job, a career, or to a disease such as alcoholism. Take an inventory of what those things are and write them down and keep them and be present to them and say, when I'm seeking new relationship, I need to remind myself of these things, that these are things that no longer serve me and I'm not going to choose them. So when you go on that blind date or that first date and the guy criticizes your outfit, your hair, your face, your mannerisms, isn't respectful or isn't kind, looks bored, looks away. These are cues from the beginning of the relationship. You can see the cues of someone who isn't going to be kind and isn't going to be loving. We just have to be willing to see it. If they start talking right away about, well, if we get married and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, that's somebody who's really emotionally immature. They don't even know you and they're already talking about marriage on the first date. Or I love that somebody after a first date goes, oh, I love you. Well, that's a red flag. You don't even know me. How could you love me? So this is someone who's just desperate to get in relationship. You're welcome, Kelly. Take inventory, write it down, and learn from it. See what your red flags are. And remember, I don't like men who are aggressive or women who are aggressive or promiscuous. I don't like people who don't have conversation with me. I don't like people whose tendency is to be critical or trying to change me. Write those things down and figure out what those red flags are for you. Okay, red flags are God's protection. I like that, Elisa. I just untied my little knot here. I like that. I think that's a good way of looking at it. Kelly Sublimal says, fear and afraid are abstract, like a child afraid of the dark because it doesn't know. Sublimal, you're getting deep. It doesn't know what to expect. The child may bump into the furniture, but not every time. So just keep trying. Aw. And don't give up hope. If good things come to an end, and sow bad things. So go for it. Oh, that was kind. That was for you, Kelly. Send Kelly some more love. Send each other some more love. Just know this. You need to take a personal inventory of yourself, of your life. Hi, Tim Feldman. How are you? It has been a very long time. Where have you been? I'm right at the end, Tim, and I'm so glad you're here. So I say hi to you and Merry Christmas. I'm winding up. I'm going to say my goodbyes, and this will be posted on my page so you can go back and watch it if you want. Please send me your topics. And please, the topic for tonight is heal thyself or harm others. Take your personal inventory. Look at where you've wronged. Look at where your resentments are. Look at where you're reacting and overreacting to people that you're in relationship with. Notice if in your relationship you feel stifled, restricted, controlled, fear, hurt, wounded, or abused. And when you take that inventory, start to say, what is my part in any of this? How can I change? How can I take action to move away from these relationships if they're toxic? And what can I do to heal them if I'm the one that's doing the damage? Okay. So, Gina, your sessions are too short. Oh my God, I feel like it goes on forever when I'm talking. It goes really fast and I feel like, this is so long. So thank you, Sublimal. Elisa, Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you for sending love to my family. You guys, I wish you blessing. I wish you hope. I wish you healing. I wish for you to find the relationships that you want and that you need. I wish for you to have that same love at your job, to find the job that you not only want, but that you need, and the partnerships and your peers and your coworkers. I hope that you're validated. I hope that you're seen. I hope that you're heard. You deserve all of those things. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Hey, we have a mama daughter. Hi, Josie, it's mom. That's so cute. Is your daughter on here? Merry Christmas to everyone, to Sublimal. Thank you so much. Sublimal, you were the first one we want to send a t-shirt to, but we don't have an address. We can't send it. So can you messenger me with some kind of an address? I can send it to you. It'd be amazing to see you in India wearing my t-shirt. I would love that. So let me know, okay? Topics for next week. Please send them. Please, 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 please send them. And this coming Friday, I'll be live on my friend Kelly Kettle's page, Wings of Encouragement. Look it up, okay? And I'll see you guys then. Take care. See you soon. Good night. Doesn't want to turn off. Good night. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.